I can't say enough of how this center influenced me and the benefits that my wife got from it. I thought nobody can take care of her like me, and I knew I had to do something for my family. It's in their hearts that they want to provide the care for the people that deserve it here.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of radio affiliates throughout Fairfield County and beyond. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. And as you can see, we have a new set behind us, and our thanks to the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy that actually produce and put this program together each and every week, and certainly all the nice comments that I get as I go out throughout the community about our program, and do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us every week. With us this week is Lieutenant Alex Lape, and good to see you, Lieutenant.
Thanks for having me here, sir.
Yeah, you're a regular guest, been on a number of times.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
And you're currently the supervisor over the patrol division, which is about almost half of the sheriff's office.
Right, yeah, we have actually 29 right now, 29, 30.
29, 30 deputies are assigned to the road.
Yes, sir. And,
you know, I think a lot of people might wonder, or they might be surprised at the difference as far as, depending on what shift you work, that's really kind of a different type of police work whenever you're working during the daytime, the evenings, and the third trick. And since you oversee the entire operation, why don't you just, and I've had other deputies kind of highlight, what do you see as some of the differences even between?
There's a lot of administrative things that are done during that time, serving of civil papers, the court type issues that we have to deal with set outs and things of that nature. Our weights and scales officers active during that shift. Also our litter patrol officers active during that shift, and then our regular patrol sector deputies are out taking calls for service and things like that. So the second shift, it's typically a little busier. That runs from 3 to 11 p.m. They're dealing with a lot of maybe some neighbor issue type situations, maybe some domestic disturbances. There's also, it seems like during the course of the day when things happen, when people are at work, when they come home, they discover it, so they get an influx.
Home broken into or something like that.
Right, get a lot of an influx on those type calls. The third shift, which runs from 11 p to 7 a, they handle a lot of the different kinds of maybe alcohol type related calls. They handle some domestic disturbances. They check a lot of the local businesses. So that's one of their focus points during that time is to make sure that there's nobody out and about, you know, at one of the business locations doing some things that they may not be should be doing.
You know, when you think about it, it's a big difference when you see someone out at 3 in the afternoon walking down an alley, walking down a roadway. But if it's 3 a.m., right, you're going to say, what's going on with this person?
It's going to pique your curiosity and suspicion, that's for sure. You know, why are they out and about? But so that's kind of the contrast between the three different shifts and the things that they do.
And then even carrying that one step further, you look at the different shifts. What about the different seasons of the year between like the fall, the winter, spring, summer? Different types of police services, different types of demands for services?
Yeah, we have different situations that develop during the different types of seasons that we enjoy here in Ohio, and in the wintertime we kind of slow down. There's not so much stuff, you know, outside type disturbances or things like that, or complaints, and About December, things just really start slowing down a little bit, not a whole lot. During December, we see maybe an uptick in some thefts.
Right.
Which
People are out the holidays
pretty common.
shopping.
Thefts from vehicles, things of that nature. But it doesn't slow down a whole lot, but it's a noticeable gear change.
Yeah, I've often thought that, if it's 5 above 0 or 0 outside, just like everyone else wants to stay inside, the thieves kind of want to stay inside too. So they're not as apt to be out breaking in houses, breaking in cars during those cold months.
Yeah, if we see somebody out during that kind of weather, we're first going to be more concerned with their safety than anything. Sometimes we have people that may be suffering from some type of disorder that would wander away. So we're going to check them out and make sure that they're okay.
You mentioned people wandering away. What is the procedure if you have someone with Alzheimer's, you have maybe an autistic child, you have someone with maybe some mental health issues, when they do wander away from home? What's the procedure as far as finding these people, bringing them back?
Well, hopefully the caretaker of that individual would notify us as quickly as possible, especially when we're looking at sub-zero temperatures. There's a very short window before hypothermia can set in. And typically we'll flood an area with cars trying to attempt to find that person. If it's a child, it presents a different set of problems than it would if it's an adult. If it would protract and go on for any length of time, then we have the Amber Alert. We have the Silver Alert that's available to us to deploy. But my experience has been in our county that we've quickly found those individuals, so we haven't had anything to really go on for a protracted period of time.
For our viewers and listeners, tell them what an Amber Alert is, a Silver Alert, and what is the criteria when these are activated, and what happens when they're activated.
Well, the Amber Alert is for children. There's a various set of criteria. There basically has to be a reason. You have to meet one of the criteria in order to put an Amber Alert out. Right.
It can't be a 17-year-old child that had an argument with their parents and they wander off.
Left in their car or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably not going to meet the criteria. If it's an autistic child that's gone from the home, you have no idea where they went, that would qualify for an Amber Alert. If it's an older adult that maybe is suffering from dementia or something like that, that would qualify for a Silver Alert. Those different types of alerts go out statewide. Typically, the new smartphone devices, they'll even alert the smartphone device automatically through the Amber Alert system. If you travel anywhere on some of the interstates, you'll see the boards alongside the highway with the Amber Alert or Silver Alert information on that. With the if it's an adult, they'll include a vehicle description if a vehicle's involved, with a license plate number, a physical description. And the same thing with the child, they'll include a physical description of the child, where they were last seen, things of that nature. A lot of times, it seems like the Amber Alerts are coming out of a domestic type situation where one parent or another of the child takes the child against a court order or something of that nature, and those alerts are also put out, and that would qualify for an Amber Alert.
I've often thought how really concerned parents are when they have a missing child and something like this. And I think one of the first things that the family's told to check around the house.
Right.
Check under the bed, check the closets, because many times those situations are resolved very quickly. But the times they're not, and the times there may be that possibility of an abduction, we know how important it is to make sure you get law enforcement there, get us involved very early on, because as we know, as time lapses, it becomes even more dangerous for a child that may or may not have been abducted.
Right, and it's kind of a joint effort a lot of times between us and the fire departments on those kind of situations. We'll search together. A lot of our personnel, specifically our SWAT team, they've been trained in search and rescue techniques. They're really useful in an event it's a wooded area, things of that nature, rough terrain. And there is a lot of rough terrain in this county, and a lot of people may not realize that, but you get south of Lancaster and it's a lot of different elevation changes and things of that nature that you can't take a regular vehicle, or you could take a horse or a four-wheeler, but it's pretty rough to walk it. My experience has been over the years that a lot of children's, just going back and searching my memory, a lot of children, we have actually found them in the house. And the first thing that a parent or caretaker needs to do is definitely call us before they go attempt to look. And we've had issues where, the child's missing, they don't know where they're at, and they're out walking through the neighborhood, and they'll walk and look for 20 minutes or so.
Or maybe call their husband at work.
Right.
Those kind of things.
It's in a stressful situation like that, sometimes it's hard to think clearly. But people should call us first, get us involved, let us help. The fire department may end up being involved also. So it's a good thing to let us know so we can do what we need to do and get what information we can get. And the first thing that we'll do after we do that, after we gain that information, is search the house again. And typically that's a lot of times where we'll find a missing child.
How important is it today with everyone having a cell phone to law enforcement, to safety?
More and more there's tools out there that make it easier for us to send out a mass alert. Just like our mobile patrol app that we have for smartphones, if people can subscribe to that free app, we can actually, if we have an event or a situation where a child's missing, we can send that out through that app, and it will go out to everybody who's a subscriber. We can send a lot of different kinds of information out through that application.
How do they get the app on their phone?
Well, they would need to go to their Google Play or their store, whatever type that is, on their particular smartphone, and just search for Fairfield County Sheriff's Office Mobile Patrol.
Okay.
And it should pull that up.
Yeah.
It's kind of a somewhat confusing process to go through, but if you stick with it or get a good friend that's good with electronics, they can kind of help you through that. But or they can call the sheriff's office and get a hold of me, and I'll do what I can to help them with it. Now it will not work on certain like iPads or things like that. They can download it on most iPhones or Android type phones.
It is amazing to me today when most people, even young people, now have their cell phones. I was talking to one of our radio dispatchers, and 20 years ago, if there was an accident on the freeway, the motorist would exit, go to the filling station, put a dime or a quarter in, and call and tell the sheriff's officer or the police department, there's an accident on 33. Now when there's an accident, they get multiple calls in about the accident. And the other big change is a lot of times today, as you know, the dispatcher's connection with these crime scenes, the connection with these accidents, they are very different than they were even 10 years ago.
Yeah, they can receive up to 200 to 300 calls on one particular accident, depending on the location, and everybody wants to help, and there's nothing wrong with that. But on the other end of it, they're trying to field all these calls, and it can become overwhelming for them if you happen, anybody who's watching happens to call in and they're kind of short. That's because there's 10 other lines ringing, and we do appreciate everybody calling, but for 2 to 3 dispatchers to field that many calls in that short a time, it can get overwhelming for them.
Yeah, last week we had a luncheon to honor the dispatchers with the Sheriff's Office, the Lancaster Police Department, the Pickering Police Department out at Alley Park. And I've often thought that that's probably one of the toughest jobs. And I'm going to get one of our dispatchers in here in the next couple months to be a guest, because that is a very difficult job, because they are multitasking, they're getting calls. And I've been very surprised at the thousands and thousands of calls that come into our dispatch center, and very few citizens feel that they didn't get pretty good service.
Yeah.
And the times they do, it's just that you're overwhelmed, you've got 10 calls coming in, and you're trying to navigate through those.
Yeah, they do a really good job, and I think you're right. A lot of people would be surprised at how that actually, it can go from 0 to 60 miles an hour, just like a lot of other jobs that we have in the sheriff's office are the same way. But the dispatchers really isn't that, it's not that much different. I mean, they can be sitting there, talking to somebody, taking a vacation request, and the next thing you have a 4-car accident or a house fire, and it just comes to life, and it's a kind of like the old switchboard operator,
Right.
They're busy, they're moving around, taking care of business, but they do a really good job.
Within the sheriff's office, the last couple of years, we've been doing a lot of hiring. We opened our annex, which added about 11 positions to the sheriff's office. We continue to do hiring. Two questions. If someone's interested in becoming a sheriff, a deputy sheriff, what are some things they probably need to know, or some things they have to do before they can even start the process? And then secondly, what is the procedure when we have a new hire?
Well, to answer the first question, because of budget trends and everything, and the fact that we do not have our own academy, we're only hiring people that are already PATA certified prior. So that would be the first thing that I would tell anybody they need to do. They need to go to one of the adult education centers here locally, or to a PATA, and obtain their Ohio Peace Officer certification. Once they have that, they can fill out one of our applications that are available online at www.fairfieldcountysheriff.com.
Right.
I believe that's it. You can search Fairfield County Sheriff and it'll come up. So if that's incorrect, then that's another way you can get to it. On our website, you can get the application, fill it out, follow the steps in that, and turn it in. And hopefully, if they're certified, we can give them some employment.
And then once they start, they're with an older, more experienced deputy, kind of an on-the-job training. Typically, they start in the jail.
Yes.
And then from there, they go on to the road or detective bureau.
If their application is processed and the decision's made to hire them, prior to that, they have to go through an extensive background investigation. They have a polygraph, a psychological exam, a physical exam. And they stay pretty busy with that through that process. So then once they come in and they're hired, then we equip them and outfit them, and they go typically into the jail for a training period, which is now approximately 8 weeks. And they work with a field training officer, a deputy that's had specialized training on how to give these people exactly what it is they need to know to do a good job. And a lot of times what happens is, if we lose somebody from the patrol division, we hire somebody to come in to take that person's position. They train for 8 weeks in the jail, and after that 8-week period, we can then take somebody from the jail and move them to patrol. If they have no prior patrol experience, then it's an 8-week training period for that person to learn what it is that they need to do to be able to work alone in the patrol division. So it's a 16-week period. And
We're almost out of time. I'd like to have you back next week. We're going to talk about some visitations that you've been doing, to visits to other sheriff's offices throughout Central Ohio, just to get some ideas. We're going to talk about the SWAT team, and we're going to also talk about the new portable defibrillators that we have. Appreciate you being here. This is Lieutenant Alex Lape, the road commander with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. The time has gone very quickly. We're going to have the lieutenant back next week to share a lot of different things. Do appreciate the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy, you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. The clock on the wall says we're out of time. Till next week, same time, same place. God bless, and we'll see you right here.
Hey.